You're at a party, someone's chilling in the corner with a drink, not talking much, and someone whispers, "Oh, they're just an introvert." Boom. Label slapped, case closed. But hang on, what if the person's just bored? Or tired? Or maybe just doesn't vibe with shallow small talk about weekend plans and weather? See, that's where we mess it up. Introvert has become the all-purpose excuse for anything remotely antisocial when in reality it's not about shyness or being awkward or even disliking people. It's something way deeper, rooted in how you process the world around you. Introversion is about stimulation. It's how your brain responds to environments, not how much you hate talking. In fact, research shows introverts actually process dopamine differently. Too much external noise, lights, chatter, and their brains start flashing overload like a Vegas slot machine. Meanwhile, extroverts? They ride that wave like they're surfing in Hawaii. It's not that introverts can't socialize, they just have a mental budget. Talk too much, too fast, too loud, and the tab runs out quick. That's not shyness, that's biology managing its energy bill. And socially, introverts are not anti-people. They're pro-depth. They'd rather talk about why you're scared of growing up than what your dog had for breakfast. The psychology behind it is fascinating. They often excel in one-on-one conversations, score higher on listening skills, and tend to be more reflective. So next time someone says, "Oh, he's just quiet," maybe he's just thinking more than talking. Maybe he's about to say something that actually matters. But here's the twist most people miss. A lot of introverts don't even seem introverted. They can be loud, outgoing, even the life of the party for a while. Then suddenly, poof, vanish into their room like a magician. Why? What's going on there? That's where it gets interesting. So, what is going on when someone seems totally outgoing one minute and completely disappears the next? That's the classic introvert hangover. It's not about being fake or pretending, it's about using up their internal fuel tank. You know how your phone works fine until it hits 5% and then suddenly shuts off in the middle of a voice note? That's an introvert at brunch. They show up, laugh, joke around, ask deep questions, even charm the table. But every interaction costs energy. It's not anxiety, it's a mental debit card. And when the battery hits zero, it's not drama. It's science. Studies show introverts have more sensitive nervous systems. That means social environments, even fun ones, stimulate them way faster. Loud places, group settings, nonstop talking, this stuff triggers a fight or flight just from overstimulation. So when they retreat, they're not being rude or aloof, they're recharging. Like emotionally plugging themselves into a wall socket. Now here's where it gets confusing because some introverts love people. They can give a speech, run a meeting, throw a party, but they'll need solitude like oxygen afterward. So the myth that introverts are shy loners? Busted. In fact, a lot of introverts are great communicators, they just hate surface-level chit-chat. It's like asking someone who loves novels to read a cereal box over and over. They'd rather say nothing than waste words. That's not bad social skills, that's just a different definition of connection. The real kicker is this. Because so many introverts can perform socially, people don't even realize they're introverted. And that's the most misused part of the word. Introversion isn't a vibe, a personality quirk, or an aesthetic. It's a cognitive setting. The person cracking jokes at the party might still go home and sit in silence for 2 hours just to feel normal again. But wait, if they seem confident, outgoing, even sociable, then how do we even know someone is introverted anymore? What's the difference between just needing space and actually being wired differently? The answer might not be what you think. Here's where the real confusion starts. We've turned introvert into a personality label, like moody or quirky, when it's actually about how your brain recovers and responds. And because it's so internal, it often hides in plain sight. Imagine this. 2 people both leave a loud party early. One's annoyed, the other's drained. One texts 5 friends on the ride home. The other stares out the window, headphones in. Same action, totally different wiring underneath. And this difference, it shows up everywhere. At work, in friendships, even in how we fall in love. Introverts often take longer to trust. But when they do, it's deep-rooted. They notice the small stuff. They remember what you said 3 Tuesdays ago at 4 p.m. when you thought no one was listening. It's not emotional clinginess, it's attentiveness. Their brains are literally more active in regions linked to reflection and memory. So while extroverts might cast a wider net socially, Introverts often go fishing with a single, intentional hook. Now comes the kicker. When researchers used brain scans to compare introverts and extroverts, they found introverts showed more blood flow in the frontal lobes, the part linked to planning, problem-solving, and deep thought. Translation: they're not zoning out when they're quiet, they're zooming in. On thoughts, on ideas, on what you meant when you said that weird thing earlier. They're not ignoring you, they're analyzing the room like a CIA agent with a PhD in emotional context. But the most misunderstood part? Some introverts are mistaken for extroverts because they've learned to perform socially. These are often ambiverts, people in the middle, but society pushes them to pick a side. So they overcompensate. They crack jokes, dominate conversations, host game nights. But after, they crash. Not because they're fake, but because they're drained in a way nobody sees. That's the secret cost of misunderstanding introversion. People keep trying to fix what isn't broken. So now the real question hits: if introversion isn't about being quiet or shy or awkward, then what is it really? And how do you tell the difference between someone who's introverted and someone who's just not interested in talking to you? Let's settle it. Alright, let's break it down. At its core, being an introvert means you draw energy from within, not from the crowd. It's less about avoiding people and more about being selective with how you spend your mental energy. So when someone's quiet at a party, it might not mean they hate being there, they might just be soaking it all in, choosing when and how to speak. It's like a mental bandwidth issue, too many tabs open, and introverts just prefer closing a few before opening new ones. Now here's the difference that clears up the whole confusion. Introverts recharge alone, extroverts recharge together. That's it. Everything else, the social skills, the jokes, the energy, the silence, it's all surface level. You can be a talkative introvert or a quiet extrovert. But how you regain your mental balance? That's your compass. You might love your friends, enjoy loud music, kill it at karaoke, but if you need to sit in silence afterward just to feel like you again, that's introversion. Not an attitude, not a trauma, not a flaw. Just how you're wired. And socially? Let's just say introverts don't lack social skills, they lack patience for pointless socializing. They're the ones who'll find you in a crowd, ask how you really are, and then actually listen. Not pretend listen. Not, every 2 seconds. Real presence. And yes, they might vanish the next morning without a group chat message, but trust me, they're probably just curled up with coffee, replaying the entire night in their head like a human instant replay machine. So next time someone uses introvert like it's a negative or a reason to pity someone, flip it. It's not about being less social, it's about being more intentional. It's not a limitation, it's a lens. And honestly, in a world that can't stop talking, maybe being the one who thinks before they speak isn't such a bad thing. But here's a thought to leave you with: if we keep misunderstanding introverts as people who need to come out of their shell, maybe the problem isn't the shell. Maybe it's the noisy world that doesn't know how to knock.